What's going on, everybody? It's your boy. I'm back for another video, and today I'm doing something a little bit different. Something I used to do in my old video, which was my, I think it was robe talks or something like that I used to do back in the day. It's on the channel, it's one of the old videos. But it's time for us to have us a talk, a grown man talk. I got my LP, Hopefully y'all can see it. I got my LP, and we're gonna smoke a good stick, bro. We're gonna smoke a good stick. We're gonna sit down and we're gonna have us a grown man talk because I'm seeing some things out here in America that I don't like. So, got my lighter, old school lighter, you know. So I went all out. I like a V cut. Some of y'all probably didn't even know I like smoking cigars. Let me go ahead and get my cut on. Good cut. Some of y'all don't even know I like cigars, man, but we're gonna go ahead and start the video off, man. Go ahead and toast it. But today, yeah, I was saying, y'all, I wanted to do this video. I really had another video in mind, but I wanted to do this video because I've witnessed something today when I was at work, and I was like, it kind of irritated me a little bit, kind of pissed me off a little bit, and I wanted to chime in on it, or I was fed up, you know, for lack of better words, and I wanted to get this off my chest. And I just feel like America, we need to do better, because this is the reason why we going through the things we going through. Let's go ahead and get to it. So let me give y'all a backstory of what I've seen. I don't want to do a reaction video to it or anything like that because I don't want to put these young men faces in the camera and stuff like that, especially with the amount of work I do in this area. But so essentially what happened was the young man, it was two young men walking down the street, and as they were walking, there was an officer that was attempting to stop the young man, two black males. I say they were probably about in their young 20s, maybe 19, 18, 19, 20, somewhere around there. And the officer is being nice to him. He's asking him, he's like, hey, can y'all stop and talk to me real quick? So just to give you a little background of the story, it seems like what happened was there was a kid that met up with someone on the offer up, and he attempted to sell them a sweatshirt, a hoodie for that he said he was worth about 200 plus, and he was robbed. Him and his brother was robbed at gunpoint by two black males. So the officers are canvassing the area looking for those suspects, and he happened to see two black males in hoodies walking, and there's a body cam. That's how I seen the video. They're walking, so he comes around the corner and he sees them. And the video picks up right at that moment. When he sees him, he says, hey, can y'all stop? I want to talk to you. I want to ask y'all some questions. And they're like, nah, we ain't do nothing. So they kept walking. And he's like, no. He's like, no, I want to talk to y'all, you know. Just let me talk to y'all real quick. Can y'all stop for me? They're like, nah, we ain't do nothing. Why you messing with us? Why you messing? We ain't do nothing. They keep walking. And then he's like, I'm going to keep following y'all. So then he goes around the corner following them. And then he stops. He gets out the car. And he's like, no, just have a talk with me. He's like, I just need to talk to y'all for a second. And then they're like, man, leave us alone. We ain't do nothing. They started walking. So then as he approaches, he's like, don't take off running. He's like, don't take off. So he gets close to one and he grabs one and he starts trying to snatch from him. So he starts wrestling him and he takes him to the ground. He doesn't slam him or anything like that. He kind of falls on top of him. And the boys, at that point, he's freaking out. He's screaming. He's like, I ain't do nothing. And he tucks his hands underneath his, like in here. So the officer's on his back trying to get him, to put his hands behind his back. And then his boy is just sitting there. So he puts, once the rest of the officers, a backup comes, puts him in handcuffs, puts him in the back seat of the car, and the other dude is recording, right? So then the cops start looking at him and like, hey, can you talk to us? Trying to talk to him. And then he starts trying to walk away. And they're like, what are you doing? Like, dude, just like chill. And at this point, the cops started to get a little irritated, which I'm gonna be honest, he held his composure better than I could. I'm gonna be honest. So the other boy, they stopped him. They actually had to threaten him like, you're going to get tased. He pulled out the taser like, if you try to run, I'm gonna tase you. So he finally gets down, gets on his knees, and they put him in handcuffs, put him in the backseat of the other car. And at this point, when he had the first guy on the ground, he was yelling at the other boy, call his mom, call his mom. So he called his mom or whatever. So at this point, his mom has arrived at the scene. And when she got to the scene, she was very understanding. She was just like, sir, what happened? So he explained, no, I take that back. When she was calm and she was at the scene, but before she said that, he was talking to the young man. He was like, bro, why do we have to go through this? He was like, pretty much, essentially, I just want to talk to you. He's like, it doesn't have to go this route. I just want to talk to you. I didn't do nothing. Once I could close my investigation, y'all can go on about your business. There was an armed robbery. And then the boy like, man, F you, I don't want to talk to you. F you, cussing him out. And then you hear his mom in the background saying, shut the F up. She telling her son, shut the F up. You know, you're not in control. Shut up. She's telling him to shut up, so he shuts up. And officer finished talking to him, and he goes over to his mom. He's like, he's like, who's your son? And then she tells him, and he starts explaining the situation to her. And she's like, okay. She's like, I understand. And she's like, did they match the description? And he said, yes. He's like, they did match the description. He's like, we're not saying that they did anything. He's like, they just match our description, so we're just trying to do our investigation. He's like, if they're good, they can go on about their business. He's like, I asked them to stop. I kept asking them to stop. That's it. I just wanted to talk to them. They didn't want to talk to me. So, one thing that the mom said that kind of touched me a little bit was, she told the officer, she said, thank you for what she said, thank you for saving their lives or something like that. Pretty much, essentially saying, thank you for not shooting them. And the officer told her, he said, you're welcome. He was like, well, everything's going on, I understand. He was like, they're black males, so they're typically, what's going on in America, they're thinking that the cops are going to shoot them and stuff like that. He's like, but all I wanted to do was talk to him. It's like, I asked him that. I just put the noise control on. I hope that it wasn't too loud. But he just told her, he was like, he's like, I understand what's going on in America with everything going with the cops and black males, that they're black males. He was like, but all I did was ask him, just stop and talk to me. That's all I wanted to do was talk to him. So essentially, they were not the guys. They were the wrong guys. And the officer, one of the other officers, he was like, he wanted to check his body cam footage. He's like, he think he's seen the suspects with the hoodie. He could hear him on body cam saying, like, I think the other guys I saw were them. So, you know, now he got to go try to find those guys. But I understand I know some people may get mad about what I'm about to say or the title of this video, but I don't want to speak out and say that those young men didn't have fathers in their lives or role models and stuff like that. But I just feel like as a black male in America, you should be taught how to interact with law enforcement. I was taught how to interact with law enforcement. This is why I say that it's so important to have a nuclear family. And to have that strong role model that can teach these young men how to interact with officers, with law enforcement as black males. And as I was going through the comments, people are blaming the cops, like the cops it is, the cops. I'm like, how can y'all say this when watching the video? Everything was escalated by these young men. I understand that they were scared, but if you didn't do anything wrong, you shouldn't have. I understand you still may be scared, but don't do stuff to agitate or escalate the situation to more than what it has to be. And it was just sad watching. I'm sitting there, I'm like, this kid, he's scared, but he's screaming, and I'm like, he's acting like a toddler, you know? It's like no emotional intelligence. And it got to the point where I sat there, I'm like, bro, we need to have a talk, America. We need to really sit down and discuss this of why are our people doing this? You know, I understand as a black male, I've dealt with those a-hole cops. This cop was not an a-hole cop. He was very generous to them. He was calm. And I'm like, dude, you have a good cop that's coming to you with this. There are. I'm not saying every cop is good. I'm not saying every cop is bad. But in this instance, this was a quote unquote, as I seen, as a good cop in that instance, and he didn't come to them on any BS or agitated or anything. He was calm with them the entire time. They were the ones that were very agitated and screaming and escalating the situation more and more. And even though he had to threaten to tase the dude, he still didn't scream at him and all do all that. He didn't rough him up or nothing like that. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, bro, we gotta really have a talk. And if the second gentleman, his mom came and she was kind of on the fence of, from what I could hear in the video, it seemed like she was on the fence of what people in the comments were saying, like kind of trying to justify the actions of the kids. And it's like, no, we shouldn't be doing that, you know? And that's one thing. Whenever I already told Paulina, when we have kids, I'm going to have that talk. Same talk I had, how to interact with officers, with law enforcement. I'm going to have that with them because this doesn't make any sense. I've had officers, it was a point in my life where I was getting pulled over at least twice or once a month. I had officers come to the car with their hands on their weapon, all of that. But you got to know how to interact with officers, whatever, because they're scared. They don't know what you're gonna do. You scared. So, just one thing. I'm just gonna leave this little nugget out here. One thing that I tend to do whenever I get pulled over is I raise down all the windows. So if you're a young man that's coming across this video, whether you about to leave a good comment or a bad comment, um, just hear me out. This is some of the measures I take. You know, hopefully they could be helpful for you or something. Maybe you be able to pick up and learn something from this. But what I do is, if I get pulled over, I raise down all the windows. I have tint on my windows, so I eliminate that issue. You know, then I can't see this and that. Raise down all four windows. Keep my hands on the steering wheel. I try to get my wallet out before they get out the car. If I can get my wallet out, have it in my hand before they get out the car, that way my hands are there on the steering wheel with the wallet. They most of the time here in Texas, they can pull your insurance up through your license plate, so they know you have insurance. And you just ask for your ID. You say, "Hey, I'm going for my ID." Boom, pull out your driver's license. You give it to them. It's either yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. That's how I was raised. I do that to people younger than me, people older than me. I do it to everyone. That's just a habit. I've had people tell me, "You don't have to say yes ma'am to me because I'm only a few years older than you." And I'm like, I do it to everybody. It's just the way I was raised. It's a southern thing. And you just don't make no sudden movements. Typically, whenever officers see that you are being that compliant and keeping their safety in mind, that you understand, typically what they would do is, even if it's, I even had like agitated officers sit there and they look at me like, okay, if they agitate, they kind of calm down a little bit because they're like, okay, we both being careful. And we just conduct the stop like that. Now, was I irritated after? Like, why they keep pulling me over, this and that? Yes, of course. Of course. But I'm not gonna go out of my way to make it harder than what it has to be. I saw one thing a while back where somebody, I think it was on Twitter, they stated, if you don't know how to conduct yourself whenever law enforcement is around, whenever authority pull us over, don't ride with me. And I felt that because you see people all the time that typically it could be a traffic stop turn into a shooting or turn into you going to jail because that person just keep egging it on, egging it on. It's like, there's no point of that. And some people do have issues with authority. It is what it is. But that's just something I saw, and I'm like, well, we gotta talk about this, bro. I understand everybody want to play victim, like, you know, the cops. I get annoyed if I get pulled over by the cops too and I ain't doing nothing. But at the same time, you don't do things. That's just emotional intelligence. You don't do things to agitate the system or agitate the situation. Well, you don't do things to escalate. the situation, make it worse than what it has to be. I understand you could be frustrated, but you got to learn how to control your emotions, especially as a male, and especially as a black male at that, because I, you see it, everything. I say a lot of the issues, a lot of the killings or fights and stuff like that is all emotional intelligence. That's all it is. So I just made this video just to say, black people, we gotta do better. Black men, we gotta do better. We gotta get emotional intelligence in our community, in our culture, because this is sad, bro. I'm tired of seeing, I guess you could say, the rage bait or the clicks that they put out on social media and stuff like that to get people to react. I'm tired of seeing that stuff, man, where the situations could be de-escalated. That's all it is. Everything can be de-escalated for the most part, majority of the time. You see dudes that be at the club or wherever they out in public and they're going back and forth, and it's like, for what? Why? It's an ego match. For what? You most likely ain't gonna never see this person day in your life. It's a random stranger. Why are y'all getting into it behind some? You actually stepped on his shoe. You accidentally spoke to his woman. You accidentally, Now I understand now if you disrespecting a man or woman, then that's a different story. But if you accidentally shoot your shot at this man or woman and you didn't know it, you're like, oh my bad, I apologize. He say what he say, okay, boom, leave it at that, bro. Go on about your business, man. The value of life is worth so much more. Or you have a situation like I'm talking about now with the officers. You stop, yes sir, no sir. He go get your IDs, he go run it. They're gonna get some more information. Do these guys match the description? No, they don't. Go on about your business. Now these young men are probably scarred. They're probably talking about this right now. Being put in handcuffs, thrown in the back of the car. It's traumatizing. But with it being so traumatizing, they did it to themselves. Because if the roles were reversed, if someone robbed their mom or something like that, they would want them officers to go out and find those people. And when you have an officer that's coming to you in that manner, where he was respectful to you, I don't get it. I don't get it. So we gotta do better, America. A male leader. If you are older male, as they call the OG, you got the young gentleman. I ain't gonna call them a YN, but that's what they call them now, YNs. But you gotta be able to set a role model for these young men. You got young men out here don't know emotional intelligence, don't know how to change a tire. They're blind. As some old heads would say, the youngsters. I know I may sound like an old head. I'm not that old, but I definitely have a soul of an old man. So it's just something that we have to do, man. Something we have to do. And I for tuning in. I hope y'all liked the video. Tell me what's y'all thoughts. Am I bugging? Am I doing too much? Am I a conservative by my logic? Let me know what y'all think. How would y'all handle that situation? Or better yet, were y'all ever taught how to deal with law enforcement? If so, who taught you that? Who sat down and explained to you how to deal with law enforcement? And another thing I want to ask is, what's some things you do whenever you're pulled over or whenever you're interacting with law enforcement to expedite the process or to make a smooth interaction between you and the law enforcement officer? Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Make sure y'all rate, subscribe, and comment. This may be a new segment I want to do where I'm smoking a stick. I really don't smoke them that much. Like I said, I'm on a big cut right now. I don't drink that much no more. So, but yeah, I think it's maybe a little segment where we just sit down, chop it up, have a stick every once in a while, and just talk about the things that's going on in America, things that's going on in our home country of the United States. So, thank y'all for tuning in, man. Make sure y'all rate, subscribe, and comment. See y'all later. Peace. You're gonna be, 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 you're gonna be. Well.